Okay, so in today's lesson, we're going to be looking at processing a contact form. Okay, so as we have mentioned earlier, we have HTML, which is the basics of what the person sees when they visit any particular website. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the code. The code is on the document that I have sent for this video. So let's go ahead to my text editor. I'm using this text editor, and this is the basic HTML code for that particular form. Okay, so you can see here it says student registration form. Okay, so I can just say, maybe let me say, let me remove student. Okay, and let's say registration, and then I save that. When I come back here to this dashboard, you can see at the top there is saying student registration form. So when I refresh this page, it's going to reflect registration the same way we have defined here. Okay, so this is the basic of HTML. As I mentioned, it is a whole different subject altogether, but let's just go through the form. Okay, so this is the opening tag for our form, and this is the closing tag for our form. Okay, and then we have form action. After form we have action. So action, this is the code. This is an HTML code again, which tells the form what should happen with this particular form. Where is this form, where is this information being sent to? In this case, it's being sent to a file called process.php, which is our PHP file that we have here, and we're going to have a look at it. Okay, and so the method is post. Okay, so you might need to look at, we'll get to the part, the method of post on PHP. There is a post method and there's a get method. So in this case, usually post method means that we are submitting something. In this case, we're submitting information through the form. And then the get method, which I'm not going to cover in this video, is usually used when we are trying to get something from either a database. It's usually a database. Okay, so let's go to label. Label is the first name. Label first name. Okay, so this is what the person sees. This is the label first name. Let me just remove first name, and let's just call it name, so that you can see what will be happening here. Then we can come here and refresh this page. You can see this is the label. It's been changed to name. So this is another label. This is another label for school. This is another label, as you can see from the code below. Okay, and then input type. Okay, input type text, because it's a text, we need text there. Okay, name, username. This name, we'll use this name on our PHP file. Okay, so we'll use this name on our PHP file. The type, input type, if I change, for example, and let's say the input type is password, and save this. Okay, before I refresh this page, you can see that if I am typing here, I can see what I'm typing there, because it's an input type of a text. Okay, so if I delete that and refresh the page to reflect the changes that we've just made, we've changed the type to password. So if I refresh that, you can see in this box I am typing, and the input type has changed. Okay, it's now a password, therefore you can't see anything that is being typed there. But in this case, our input type is text, because the user needs to see what they are typing there. Okay, so let's just put back text and then refresh the page. You can see now when we're typing, we can see what is being written there. Now, it's pretty much the same with all these other options. This is HTML again. Then there's this BR at the very end. This one makes sure that the surname is in the bottom. Okay, just below the name. If we did not include these line breaks and save this, you notice something. Surname will come just after name. Okay, so that can be a problem. It's not really user friendly that way. So let me just bring back that. Okay, so and then at the very end we have input type, submit, value, send information. So this is the text of our pattern that we can see here. so its import type is a submit. Okay, so this is the basic of HTML. Now let's go ahead to process.php. This is the PHP file that really does a lot of things, since this lesson is all about PHP. So we have talked about variables. Okay, we've talked about variables. Okay, so the variable we first define the variable. Okay, so we first define the variable name. This is the username, so we assign this username to the variable called name. Now if you remember, this username and this user surname and user school, they are defined in our HTML code here: username, user surname, user school, user city, blah 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 blah. Okay, so let's go back to process.php. So you can see we are defining a lot of variables, well, 4 to be precise, and they are using the method post, because that is the method that we're also using on our HTML form. Okay, so the information, we have defined the variables, and so when a user submits the information, that information is going to be saved to this variable, assigned to this variable. For example, if someone comes to the browser and submits a name, okay, so they type in their name here, what will happen here is that the name, which has a username on that form called user underscore name, is going to be assigned to this variable. So when we go to the to this bottom part of the form, okay, we say echo your name is name. And as you remember, this variable has been assigned the name that was submitted by the user on that particular form. Okay, but before I get there, you can see that we can echo this that says registration successful. So if a user clicks on submit, they are going to get this notification, and then they are redirected to this page. Okay, so your name is, surname is, then another break, line break, then we echo. This is, we're echoing a break, a line break here, and then we echo again. You go to school. So likewise, when a user comes here and types in a school, and we'll call this school high school. Okay, the text high school, because what is common, or what we used to do in our previous lessons, we would say, maybe let's say test, and then we assign this variable, and then we say it's exam. Okay, so this one is assigned, this is assigned to this variable, but in this case we're not doing that. We want the system to capture the names of the user, and then they are assigned to these variables. Okay, so your school, you live in city. Okay, so this is saved and all ready to go. So what we need to remember is that on our form always what we need to do is that form action. So if I say, maybe let me change the spelling here, and let's say form action equals to pro, and save that, and try to come here and submit information, surname, high school, city, and send information. Registration successful, your name is Beginyati. You go to, okay, so the reason why this might have worked is because this browser is the information is being cached, right? So let's just refresh this. Begi surname, or I might not have saved this. Okay, let me save that, and then the Nyati, the school, high school, city, Bulawayo, and send information. It was not found because the browser is trying to access pro.php, which is a file that does not exist. Okay, so that information is not going to be processed. But when we come back here and then replace the proper file name, process.php, and then we refresh this page, and then now we can fill in our information: surname, the school, city, Bulawayo, and then we send the information. Registration successful. Your name is Beginyati. you go to high school and you live in Bulawayo. So that is how you process forms. Okay, so this is the very same case when you are, maybe let's say you are registering, you're creating a new Facebook profile. You just type in all that information, your date of birth and stuff like that. That information is processed by PHP. But in those systems, the difference now is that after that information has been submitted to PHP then processes that information and sends that information or saves it to a database. A relationship between a database and PHP is something that we're going to cover over time. For now, this is an HTML form sending information to a PHP code. Okay, so you can experiment on your own. You can change a lot of things. You can add passwords here. You can add you can also include our conditional statements that we learned about, to say if the name of the user, you can test this is a project idea. So if, let's say, you come to process here and then you use your if statements to say if the name of the person is so and so, then that particular person is going to get the information that says ABCD. You understand? So that is about this lesson, processing PHP forms. And next we want to include what is the task at hand right now, to say to combine if statements with PHP. Cheers.